2 spacecraft, 1 moon, 1 secret. In July of 1969, while the entire world watched 2 American astronauts walk on the surface of the moon, there was a second spacecraft in lunar orbit at the exact same time. Almost nobody knew it existed. It wasn't American, it belonged to the Soviet Union, and its mission was simple: reach the moon, grab a piece of it, and return to Earth before the Americans even got home, stealing a piece of glory from what should have been history's most obvious victory. What most people don't know is just how close it came to working, and just how badly and secretly it all fell apart. The race that started with humiliation. To understand why the Soviet Union was so desperate to win this moment, you have to go back more than a decade. The Soviets had launched Sputnik, the first satellite in history, and sent Yuri Gagarin as the first human being into orbit, humiliating the United States on the world stage again and again. President Kennedy responded with a promise that seemed almost impossible, that America would land a man on the moon before the decade was over. For years, nobody knew which country would actually get there first. By the summer of 1969, that question was about to be answered in a way the Soviet Union never wanted the world to see. The explosion America wasn't supposed to see. Just 2 weeks before Apollo 11 was set to launch, the Soviet Union quietly attempted to launch its own giant moon rocket called the N-1 from a remote site in Kazakhstan. In the final seconds before liftoff, one of its engines failed catastrophically. The rocket exploded on the launch pad in one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in human history, destroying the entire facility. It should have been impossible to hide. But American attention was completely fixed on Cape Kennedy, and the disaster at the Soviet launch site went almost completely unnoticed by the outside world. The Soviet Union's last real hope of landing a human being on the moon had just been destroyed, in secret, and nobody in the West even knew to look for it. A secret probe races toward the moon. With their crude lunar program in ruins, Soviet engineers turned to a quieter plan. 3 days after Apollo 11 launched from Florida, the Soviet Union secretly launched an uncrewed spacecraft called Luna 15, with a simple, audacious goal: land on the moon, scoop up a sample of lunar soil, and rush it back to Earth before the American astronauts even made it home. If it worked, the Soviet Union could still claim a piece of the moment for itself, a scientific victory hidden inside America's crude triumph. For 8 tense days, 2 spacecraft from 2 rival superpowers orbited the same moon at the same time, one in full view of the entire world, the other almost completely unknown. The crash that ended it all. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin stepped onto the Sea of Tranquility, becoming the first human beings to walk on the moon. High above them, the secret Soviet probe was still searching for a safe place to land, delayed again and again by the danger of the lunar terrain below. 2 hours before the American astronauts left the lunar surface to begin their journey home, Luna 15 finally began its descent. It never made it. The spacecraft struck the side of a mountain and was destroyed. Its mission, and with it the Soviet Union's last secret hope of salvaging the moment, ending in silence. Thousands of miles from the cameras and celebrations following the American astronauts home, the secret that lasted 20 years. Soviet media barely mentioned any of it. State newspapers gave the moon landing itself only a small mention, while officials worked quietly to bury any trace of their own failed lunar program. According to Sergei Khrushchev, the son of the former Soviet premier, engineers within the program watched the American broadcast with a mix of quiet disappointment and reluctant respect, knowing exactly what it meant, even as their own government refused to admit defeat. The full truth about the Soviet moon program, the rocket explosion, and the secret race played out above the lunar surface would remain hidden from the world for another 20 years, only coming to light in 1989. If you want more forgotten stories like this one, moments when American achievement was so complete that the other side had to hide the truth, make sure you're subscribed to Steel Archives.